All right. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Continue to eat. My name is Walt Marchbanks. For those of you who I haven't met, my pronouns are he, him, and his. And welcome to Port of Portland headquarters for our quarterly awards luncheon. This is a hybrid event, so we're live streaming this on Facebook. So if you've got friends or loved ones at home, please encourage them to join the fun at home. This event is a great opportunity to celebrate and share some customer service success stories that we've received over the past several months, and really to celebrate the folks who have gone above and beyond, the ones that we've heard of. We know that there are a number of others that miracles happen all the time at the airport, but we really appreciate everybody for taking the time. Once a quarter, we gather everybody in the same room or in the same space, and we recognize folks from across the entire airport community. We've got 10 different industries we represent or that we see here at PDX. And as I look out into the room, I see our federal partners, I see our rental car partners, I see concessions, food and beverage folks, I see, volunteers, volunteer musicians. It's really a great group of folks. And, this room is kind of a microcosm of the airport community as a whole. And it's just really exciting. I always get super excited when we have these events. It's always an honor and a pleasure to host you. So for those of you who haven't been to one of these events before, it's really broken up into three parts today. First and foremost, we're going to have a couple great guest presentations that center around Disability Employment Awareness Month, which happens to be the month of October, with a special focus on the needs of older adults, which is very exciting. Next, we're going to have a segment that we call PDX at Home that showcases one of our partners, the Country Cat. We had some cookies today from the Country Cat, for those of you who had a chance to have one of those. And last and most importantly, we're going to host the awards portion of the event. So if you're joining us from home and you're joining us on Facebook right now, drop us a like. Please share the feed with your friends and loved ones, and really let the customer service superstars who are in this room know that you think about them and that you care about them and that they're special because they are. So without any further ado, it's my honor to virtually introduce Joyce DeMonin with AARP. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation here. All right, there we go. Joyce DeMonin recently retired from AARP, where she worked for 16 years leading the state's effort on financial security, including campaigns about the value of workers 50 years and older, retirement security, understanding Social Security and Medicare, and leading AARP Oregon efforts to pass legislation to create Oregon Saves. Joyce has a master's in public health and business administration and has worked as an elder advocate, reporter, and director of communications for various organizations. She lives in Portland with her husband, retired art professor from Lewis and Clark College. Joyce and I are also very close colleagues. We work a lot around accessibility and specialize in focusing on the needs of older adults at the airport as well. So again, Joyce is joining us remotely, but you can see her and you'll see her on the slides. But Joyce, can we hear you okay?
I can hear you great. How can you hear me well?
I'm getting thumbs up from all across the room, so I think we're in good shape. Yeah, everybody's got thumbs up. So I'll go ahead and drive your slides, Joyce. Just go ahead and tell me next when it's time. So I'll start off.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Walt, for inviting me. And I'm super excited to talk about this topic because of many of the initiatives that I worked on at AARP. I think this one is one of my favorite and one of the most needed, because I think oftentimes when we think about recruiting employees, we don't think about older adults. And it is a huge asset that is often overlooked. And I really wanted to be there in person. I love coming out to the airport for anything that Walt is doing. It's always illuminating and fun to be there. But my husband got COVID over the weekend, and that was that. So I'm staying home, and I appreciate that we have this technology that we're able to do this remotely. I just want to talk to you a little bit today about the value of older workers and maybe, what's going on in the workforce, why this might be valuable to you. And I just want to ask you, first of all, when you think about recruiting, do you really think about looking at older workers as part of your talent pool? I remember I had a conversation with an HR manager for I won't say where, a government organization, and their whole focus was hiring 20, 30-year-olds that they thought would stay with the organization for 20 or 30 years. And they really did not recruit older adults at all. I think they're, beginning to look at that policy and realizing that people don't necessarily stay in jobs the way they may have at one point. But it is an important thing to look at, especially when we have the economy we have right now. One thing about older workers, this friend of mine said, Joyce, what are you going to want to do when you retire? Because the reality is, a lot of stuff. And that is true. After you've been in the workforce for 30 or 40 years, you actually know a lot of people, you have a lot of skills. Maybe you've made mistakes along the way and learned from them, but you've definitely, had a career or maybe several careers, and you have a lot to offer. And a lot of people who are over 50 or 60 say, I'm not done yet. I want to stay engaged and I want to have the opportunity to make money as well. So next slide. We are all living and staying healthy and working longer, and we aren't retiring at 55 the way people may have, or even at 60. And part of this is for financial reasons. The reality is the nest egg of many of the greatest generation and boomers were hard hit by the recession, but it's also because we feel we do have a lot to contribute. And people may expect that they're going to work to the average age of 66, but the reality is many people end up leaving the workforce on average around age 61, 62, according to Gallup. And there's another organization that studies employment trends, the Employee Benefit Research Institute, which found that the median expected retirement age was 65, but in reality, people are retiring at 62. So we have a couple of different data sources that show that people end up leaving a little earlier than they had planned. And I know that during COVID, some people ended up just leaving the workforce. We had a lot of people, older adults, who've left the workforce because their parents got sick and someone had to take care of them. And so they leave for a year or two, thinking that they can just get a job again. And they find it very difficult after they've been out of the workforce for a while. So many people who leave for a variety of reasons, personal reasons, health reasons, family reasons, COVID, whatever you have, probably would like to get back, but maybe they wouldn't want to get back in quite the same way. Here's just a graph that shows that people really are staying healthy longer. I know sometimes that's a concern of employers, like if I hire an older person, what's that going to mean for my business? But on the average, people are actually staying healthy. And, we in the gerontology world call it, we can maintain the activities of daily living. So we don't need any help to get around, to do things, to do all the things we used to do. And that goes on, well into our 60s, 70s, and even 80s now. So next slide. And I want to make sure I'm synced up with Walt. Yes. Okay, good. The tight labor market in Oregon, it's 3.8%. And it's one of the lowest it's been in 50 years. So I think you all know, if you're looking for employees, that it's harder to fill them. I see stuff all over the place, in the window, social media, all kinds of strange places that people didn't have to recruit before. People are looking for good employers. And so you might want to broaden your perspective and hire an older worker. But how do you do that? What's the lingo, for example, that might attract older workers to your business or business unit? Well, one of the things Walt and I have worked on over the past several years is this idea that employers can be age friendly. And policy-wise, AARP and a lot of our partners, including the PDX, have really worked to make Portland more age friendly in a variety of ways. But businesses can also, say that they're age friendly and work to be age friendly. Or, you can use a recruiting phrase like multicultural, multi-generational workplace. And if you want to learn more, it turns out that AARP has an employers resource center. And I didn't get the your URL, but I can give it to Walt, or you can Google it because it's easy to find. And AARP has a ton of resource for employers who want to tap this great resource. So I'd highly recommend that. Next slide. And I just wanted to use this to show you, because I think a lot of times when we think of demographics, we think about young people, or we think about, that we have GLBT, we want to be include the BIPOC community. And one of the groups that gets left out a lot is older adults, but they are going to be continually a big part of our society and want to be engaged and should be engaged. So if you just look at this quickly, the median age is expected to grow to 43 by 2060. And as people live longer, we just don't all drop off a cliff at a certain age there. And interestingly, this is some of the research that AARP has done, and that age diversity actually helps stabilize turnover in organizations. Older adults tend to stay with a job longer than the younger people have been doing. And I think right now with all of the we call it the great resignation, that kind of thing. That is really not something that older adults are doing and have done. Millennials, we like to pick on them, I know, but they have data shows that they actually have been less likely to stay with their employer. So that was one of the things I've heard from employers, like, if I hire an older worker, will they be here 2 years from now? And I think you can ask yourself, will any employee be there 2 years from now if you don't offer them an opportunity to grow, to have meaningful work, to feel like they belong to the organization, all of those things that we talk about when we talk about employee engagement will work across the lifespan. And I think that certainly older adults have historically been very loyal to employers. And I just wanted to throw this slide in here because you could say, well, if you're 65, why would you want to go back to work? And one of the reasons is because older adults need the money. And I don't have the information here right now, but it is surprising how many Oregonians are living on only a Social Security check. And we all know with the inflation, the cost of living, especially housing, that it is just not enough to live on. The average Social Security check is something like $1,500 a month. It's actually a little bit less. So one of the things that Oregon has done that I worked on in 2017 was to create a program called Oregon Saves. So every worker in the state has access to retirement savings program. And if you don't have your employees signed up for Oregon Saves, you can check it out on the Oregon State Treasury website. So next slide. Why do older adults want to work? And I did explain, about half of Oregonians are not really ready they don't have the assets to retire, even though for various reasons they get dropped out of the workforce. So they can't afford to retire. Maybe they're going back to work to pay for a special purchase, like a new car, pay off their mortgage. But one of the reasons people love to work, we hear this a lot, is that people want to learn and be with people of all ages. And this picture is of me in the baseball hat with two of my colleagues. I am a boomer. The middle one is a Gen Xer, and the gal with the sunglasses is a millennial. And the three of us became great friends working at work. And we're all texting all the time, even though I'm retired. And so this is a big thing, I think, for people. You don't necessarily think, if I hire older people, are they going to fit in? I think it turns out that a lot of younger people like older people, and older people like younger people, and it makes a really nice workplace. Okay, so next slide. So you're thinking, okay, maybe I want to hire an older worker. What's going to attract them to my company? So one of the things that older workers really like, and younger workers sometimes do too, is flexibility. And they might want to work less than full time. In fact, a lot of older workers don't really want to work full time. And they probably don't want to do heavy lifting. Older workers, unlike millennials, don't want to do quite as much teamwork. They don't want to do everything as a group. And they don't necessarily just want to have Walmart greeter positions. So I think sometimes people think, I can hire an older worker for this simple task. Well, you might have people who have had complex jobs who don't want to just do some simple thing. They would love to do something a little bit more executive functioning, but maybe they don't want to do it full time. So ways to do that is to think about a job share, or think about dividing tasks up that somebody can do, or episodic. Maybe you have someone leaving on maternity leave. An older worker might be perfect to fill in for a few months while somebody's out of the office. So there's lots of different ways that we can structure the workplace that make it more attractive to older workers, but also younger workers, maybe who are having families and don't necessarily want to work 40 hours either. I think it's really kind of a creative opportunity for employers to think about, how they can tap this great potential. So next slide. And one of the things we find about older workers is that they have what we call soft skills, or this one's called uniquely human skills. And I think probably that's, years in the workforce, learning to work with a lot of different people, learning to problem solve, the critical thinking, relationship building, and empathy. And one thing that a lot of older workers are really great at is coaching and mentoring. But, a lot of them also enjoy kind of that reverse coaching and mentoring, where maybe we have a skill and knowledge over many, decades of work, but we want to pick up something that younger people are able to do. Older adults are very good at writing and communications and system thinking. So next slide. And so I just want to wrap up here to say that we believe AARP, and I'm still a volunteer with the office here in Oregon, that older workers can be very good workers. And I'll just tell you personally that when I was, I think I was 66 or 67, I can't remember, I won the National Communication Award for AARP on my work for Oregon Saves that I did. And it made me really happy because I'd been doing this older worker stuff also. And I said, gosh, this is exciting because it really shows that older workers are, very motivated and excited, and they really want to accomplish big things. And I was super excited to be recognized nationally from AARP for that. And one of the things we find is that older workers are very engaged, and 65% of employees 55 plus are considered engaged, while younger employee engagement rate is about 5% lower. And engagement rate really is an indicator of both retention and business results. It only takes 5% increase in engagement to achieve 3% revenue growth. So that's kind of a little technical data stuff. But we believe that shifting trends in reward and benefit programs have created a age-neutral distribution of labor costs, meaning that adding more older people to your workforce can result in only minimal increases in total labor cost, but you might get higher engagement. So I hope that gives you some overview of the issue of the value of the older worker. And as I said, there is a lot of information on aarp.org if you want to poke around, or if you need any more, if you want more information, I'd be happy to share it with you if you just ping Walt and I can get back to you. So thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joyce. Let's give her a round of applause. All right, Joyce. And again, feel free to stick around through the remainder of the presentation if you want in the background, or again, you can join us on Facebook, however you'd prefer. But thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, does anybody have any questions for Joyce? And if not, you can ask them later. You can send them to me and I can get them over to Joyce or connect you offline as well. Okay. All right. Hearing nothing, we will carry on. Thank you again so much, Joyce. Really appreciate your time.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Next, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Michelle Bowers with Easter Seals of Oregon. As a native PDX, as a PDX native, Michelle loves all aspects of our beautiful state, including how immensely diverse and inclusive our labor force is. She's been involved with Easter Seals of Oregon's Senior Community Service Employment Program, Umbrella, for the past 4 years. She's currently the assistant director across 18 counties of the state of Oregon, which allows her to be part of an amazing team of employment specialists and job developers supporting over 300 participants to find their place in today's workforce. So, without any further ado, I'll hand this over to you and welcome. Please.
You.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. So, as he said, I'm Michelle. It's awesome to be following Joyce and the informational sessions on hiring and employing older workers. Easter Seals Oregon has been in the disability work 75 years this year. So that's what we do. We help people find their places in the community and be successful wherever they want to be, at their happiest spot. So CSEP is the program that this is Catherine, she's our director. And we are here to represent CSEP. It stands for the Senior Community Service Employment Program. And Joyce did a wonderful job about explaining a lot of assets that the older workers bring. So I'm going to skip some slides as I go and talk more about how Easter Seals Oregon can help you bring older workers to. Did you want me over there?
It doesn't matter. He's got a mic.
Look at that.
Yeah, good.
Hi. Sorry, I wasn't even thinking about the microphone. So we just want to talk to you a little bit about what we do and how you can bring older workers into your places of business and how we can support you in doing that. So I like to start with a success story. This up here is Beth, and Beth was a referral to us. She was a senior in the community. She had owned a home in her time, was a professional teacher. She had a partner. They were both on Social Security. She lost her partner and then her income and then became homeless. And it happened within 5 years. And so Beth came to us looking for support, wanting to step up, wanting a helping hand, and being at the age that she was at when she came to us, felt like she had been shut down by the community. She didn't have a place. She felt unwanted and unneeded. So we brought her into CSEP. And the way that works is people refer people into our program. And she was a referral from Northwest Pilot Project. She worked with our team. We helped her build a resume. We taught her about transferable skills. We have an amazing support program. We were able to purchase a full set of teeth for Beth. We worked with her on host agency placements. For us, that looks like an internship. So we'll send folks to internships with community partners. Those internships can last from 6 months to 18 months, and they learn a whole new skill set there. She learned how to use the computer all over again. She learned all the new CRM databases. She learned how to do touch screens where she had no idea. We taught her how to operate her smartphone, which she had no idea. She still had the flip phone, the Obama flip. Yeah. So she came to us without those skill sets. It's very hard to function in today's workforce without technical skill sets. So she came to us and our team supported her. We had her in the program for about a year. She did an intern placement at a couple nonprofit markets and then ended up as a manager with Village Market. She's been there for over 18 months. She makes a livable wage. She is just now going to own her own home again the end of this year, has a place for her and her dogs, and is competitively employable. So on top of this success story, we have several that are centered right here in the airport. We have folks who are cleaning cockpits. We have CSEP participants that completed our program in winter retention who are doing portering work across the hallways. We have folks who are in the rental car area. And in that process, they come through our program, they get our support, and then we see them out for a whole year. So if some people aren't familiar with hiring older workers and they feel like they might need a little support, hire one of our older workers. We'll support you for a year and keep you them. So who we are, let me tell you a little bit about Easter Seals. So our mission is to be the organization that provides exceptional services and resources. We make a tangible and positive impact on society. The vision is to create and deliver disability services, workforce development, and housing programs that result in 100% included and empowered participants in their communities. So we're talking about overcoming barriers and what some of our seniors are looking at. And I know that Joyce spoke about a lot of this, but what we see every day in our offices amongst our 19 counties and what do we have now? Close to 500 participants across the state. The barriers they're facing, of course, our age, our housing here, especially in our area, the housing rate is insane. As she was speaking about Social Security, I have folks who were housed on Social Security for 10 years, and now they're coming in our doors going, I need a job again. help me figure out how to be employable because I haven't worked in 10 years and I can't keep my house because I can't pay it with my Social Security. So, of course, the added disabilities that come with 55 and over, the knee replacements and the help with back support and the things that now what they used to be lifting raw materials. They used to be driving in a forklift or working in a warehouse their whole life. They can't do that anymore. A lot of our 55 and over are going, my body won't allow me to do that anymore. So how can you help me become employable? If I have to be on my feet all day, I'm not going to be successful, right? And so education, a lot of our older workers want to go back to school, earn new degrees and certificates, figure out what they want to do next and what they want to be when they grow up, So they want to go back and get reeducated. Our program offers support services and helping them be certified. If the position that we want to help them grow into requires a certification, CSEP helps with that. So transportation is always an issue for some of our older folks. And of course, the idea of self-esteem, like we saw with Beth, she was just broken down. And so many of our seniors come to us going, what happened? My life has been on path. My whole life has been on path. And now in my 60s and 70s, I have nobody and nowhere to go. My kids are adults or maybe broken families who don't have immediate family support. So we help with these kinds of things. We connect them with resources. We offer full holistic care, case management, one-on-one support. And then the work experience is those awesome internships. So if you guys want to hire cashiers for your stores, we'll train them to be cashiers in the community. Then you meet with them and you go, okay, I'm ready. This person's completely 100% ready to go. And then we support them for a whole year after you pick them up. So some of the services that we provide, as I've already talked about, resume development, interview techniques, workplace experience is the internship piece, computer training, career coaching, expansion on the skills that they brought. So many of our older workers already come with a base skill set, something they've been really good at for years. The receptionists who did it for 40 years are maybe familiar with the Rolodex, but their skill crosses over to today's, right? So all that orientation, attention to detail, all of those things cross over. It's just our job to show them their worth and their value. Our job to introduce them to the job market that's accepting, that's interested in equity, that's interested in making it a diverse, full workforce. So job leads and placements, that's where you guys come in. So Easter Seals CSEP has staff for you. We have 55 and over people who've been in our program that are ready to go to work. And then, of course, the year retention and support services that we offer. So CSEP community partners and placements, this is just what we've been talking about. Bringing in community partners across the PDX area is vital for us. Having pipeline employers, having employers who are going, you know what, we want to hire those older workers. We want to accommodate those disabilities so that we can be a full partnering organization. That's what we do. That's what Easter Seals Oregon does in our communities. We partner with businesses and nonprofits that want to embrace the older workers bring to the workforce. So we already talked about what they bring to the workforce. Joyce covered that really well. The skills and experience, stay on their jobs longer, take fewer days off, retain business knowledge and networks, play the critical role in training the next generations of workers, providing the customer service with consistency and personal attention. We love that. Who doesn't love walking into a store and have grandma and grandpa going, hi, what can I do for you? And they get all up in close. That's the best. And we go down, to the places where our participants are employed, and we'll walk in and, oh, we just love Grace. She's been here for 2 years. We couldn't do better than Grace. And Grace is completely her job is her world, because her grandkids are grown, her family's out of state, and her job is her world. How many staff do you get who dedicate their whole abundance to their jobs? So many of our older workers are that kind of a dedicated staff. So that's like a quick recap. I wanted to piggyback off Joyce, but we have some paperwork. If you guys want phone numbers and contact information, we pipeline to employers. So if you guys are interested in talking about hiring older workers and what our program can do for you, you can reach out to me or Catherine. We can connect you with your local employment specialists. We can come out and do a training for your staff. We can talk about accommodations, any of those things. So if you have questions for me while I'm here, just shout those out now. And if not, then I'm going to.
Yeah, please don't be bashful. I'm so excited when we actually got to meet each other. Catherine and I are on a subcommittee with Age Friendly Portland, and when we got to know each other a little bit, and I got to learn a little bit more about what Easter Seals did, I said, "Gosh, what an amazing organization! What a great partnership that we have. We can build this relationship. Obviously, you're already working with some of our employers, but there's a lot more work that we can do together and that we will do together ultimately, I'm sure. So please continue to stay in touch. I'll make sure that I circulate the information out as well. But thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. All right. Next, we've got our PDX at Home segment, and it's really exciting. We partnered with Country Cat to put this together. It's a small video, and over the course of the past couple years, we've done these PDX at Home segments. We partnered with Timberline Lodge. We partnered with Tender Loving Empire, who is in the room today, on an aesthete tea partnership, right? That kind of showcased using tea as a ceremony to bring, to kind of center your space as we're going through a lot of emotional stress going through the pandemic. But Country Cat has a great program that I think you'll probably see more of when you're out and about as you start, going out to restaurants and so forth. It's called a Zero Proof program. And, what we used to kind of consider a mocktail or something that would be, on a kid's menu, it's really evolved. And you'll find that there's a lot of really great crafted cocktails that aren't alcohol involved that you can get at a restaurant now. And it's really got its roots in inclusion. So if you think about going out to a restaurant, sometimes you've got a meeting the next day. Sometimes you work for the public, like me, right? And you can't always grab an alcoholic beverage off the menu, and that's great. So it's an opportunity to think about something that you can order off a menu that is, maybe celebratory, maybe a little bit more crafted, but also kind of provides the ability to not feel like you just kind of have to revert to a soda or a club soda when you're out and about. So I think you'll really enjoy it, and we'll get it started.
When people come in the Country Cat, we want them to feel like they've come home. One of our mottos in our house is respect and care, and we like to translate that out to the world.
Hello, my name is Adam Sappington, and I am the co-owner with Jackie Sappington at the Country Cat. I just introduced you.
Yeah.
Country Cat at PDX has been here for 7 years, 7 wonderful years. I grew up eating fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and gravy, and we wanted to bring that into the airport and represent American food in the best way possible with Northwest ingredients.
There's an authenticity to it. There's a craft to it. Everything is made here on site. I think one of the highlights of what we do here at Country Cat, aside from our food, is our beverage program. We have really curated a really unique and vast whiskey list. We have a great wine list that really speaks to the Pacific Northwest. We've also curated a really amazing zero-proof cocktail list for people that want to have a celebratory drink but don't want to have the hangover. They taste great, they're beyond soda, and we put a lot of thought and care into that list.
So when we were curating our beverage menu here at the Country Cat, we wanted to keep in mind being able to provide something for everybody. So I'm going to show you 2 of our mocktails from our non-alcoholic program. The first one's going to be the Mockingbird here. Start with some lime juice. And then we like to top it with Izzy grapefruit soda. Just a couple of dashes of Fee Brothers peach bitters on top, just for aromatics. And a lime. This is the second most popular beverage on our beverage menu right now. This is perfectly bright, refreshing, easy, simple to make. It's delicious. When it comes to drinks or food, we always like to make sure we maintain a high standard. Everything we bring you here is farm to table. For example, even when I was choosing the ingredients for the cocktail menu, I thought it would be great to highlight our produce selection by creating a shrub here and adding that to the non-alcoholic cocktail menu and even making a cocktail with it as well. So in order to make our shrub and soda here, we're gonna take 2 ounces of strawberry shrub, house-made here. And this is something that's very simple to make. Anyone could make this at home. We're gonna top it off with some club soda. What you wanna do is you take some fruit, in this case strawberries, you're gonna slice them and you're gonna macerate them in sugar. And that sugar is gonna extract the syrup and the water from the strawberries. And then once you have your maceration complete, you're just going to add some vinegar. In this case, we add apple cider vinegar to the strawberry syrup. And once you strain out the strawberries, you're essentially going to have a drinking vinegar known as strawberry shrub. You top it with soda. Give it a quick stir. And you can create a delicious cocktail or mocktail in this case.
People like, oh, I want a cocktail because they're feeling like they're doing something special or drinking something special. People that don't drink want to feel that as well.
Just because you're not drinking doesn't mean you can't have fun, you know?
All right, give him a round of applause. I know. My job is so hard. I had to try all that food. And I will also say that, you know, they didn't get any pictures of the drinks because I drank them all in like one shot. They were so good. You know, I'd strongly encourage you to try making a shrub at some point. I found that we had some freezer burned berries that were kind of chilling in our freezer this past week, and I actually made one up, and it was really easy to make and made a really great tasting soda, really, at the end of the day. So anyways, so thank you all so much for, you know, working through that. We're now at the part that we've all been waiting for, right? The awards portion of today's event. So those who I voluntold, we're going to read some stories. Come on up. We'll go ahead and have my working committee friends join us at the front of the room. For those of you who don't know, this program is operated by a volunteer group of working committee members. They're all from different industries at the airport. Revicott with Hertz is in front, but I kind of let you sit this one out. You're good. Same thing in the back out here, Amanda Martinez. I let her kind of take a knee on this one too. But this event itself is really driven by this hardworking group of individuals. So let's give them a round of applause because they work so hard for all the events that we do. Thank you. All right. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Naomi Eckstein, who's going to read the award winner in the airline category.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Walt. I am so honored to be here as always. I always feel so special to be a part of these events, just because I think it's so important to recognize people that do a good job. And like Walt said, we always have so many people that do such a great job that go unrecognized. So just know that we see you, we appreciate you. And anyways, I'll continue on. So Natasha Smith with Delta Airlines. So this compliment came from a thankful passenger, and I'll read it here for you. I had a last-minute flight cancellation, which meant I was not going to be able to get back home as I had planned. I raced to the airport since there was a slim chance I could make it with a flight on Delta. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get there in time, but Natasha sat down with me and was able to help me calm down and work through the options to get home. I really appreciated her help. Having someone with her friendly, respectful attitude towards customer service is a real asset to your airport. Aww. Thank you. Okay, up next we have Ann Tenry from Hertz. Come on up, Ann! Woo-woo! Okay, this compliment came for Ann from a coworker. Ann is a superstar who goes above and beyond to mentor others and to inspire them to provide extraordinary service like herself. Beyond that, she also guides them to meet company goals. When assisting customers, she strives to treat each situation as important and makes sure all customers are taken care of in a timely manner. It's fun and exciting to work with Ann on the same team. She has a positive attitude, integrity, confidence, and great communication skills. Thanks, Ann.
Hi, everybody. My name is Francesca Becker. I'm with the TSA, and my pronouns are she, her. So next up, we have Jody Martini. And we're just going to clap for her. Indeed. So Jody received 2 customer compliments. Jody is an extraordinary employee. She helps so many customers with grace and humor and makes it look easy. But my serving history reminds me otherwise. I travel often for work, and she is absolutely and by far the quickest, most personable server I have ever had. This woman deserves a raise! ! This is the first time I've met her, and I will be sure to come to Capers again in hopes I am lucky enough to have her as my server again. I have had Jody as a bartender twice this last month, and she has been extremely friendly, kind, talkative, and engaging. Even when working while short-staffed, she continued to provide great customer service to everyone, and it feels very genuine. She was simply wonderful. Great job, Jody.
Yay, Jody!
All right, next up is Mark Tartarus with Tender Loving Tortoise. Thank you, excuse me. Mark, come on up here. Mark's manager sent in this nomination. While Mark was working in an early morning shift, a gentleman came into the store who was expressing some frustration. He had a flight. His flight had been canceled, and it seemed to be triggering a sense of fear. The passenger expressed he felt as though people were laughing at him. Mark noticed the passenger was distressed and appeared to be escalating in discomfort. Mark wanted to help this person remain calm and make it to his destination. Mark assured him he was safe, let the other customers in the store know that he had to close up for a moment, and took time to escort this man to his airline's desk to see if there were any other flight options for him. The man was so thankful to Mark, he called him his angel. This is a perfect example of the respect and kindness we strive for at PDX. Mark took it upon himself to make sure the customer felt taken care of, and I could not be prouder of his humanity on display. Great job, Mark.
That's so nice. Good job, Mark.
Okay, now it's my turn to be humbled by you wonderful people. So I have Miss Linda Cooper. Okay, do that again. I really like that. Oh, yeah. Okay. She is with the TSA. So this compliment came from a very delighted passenger. I was traveling alone and in an unfamiliar airport. I was not sure where my gate was. Linda Cooper flagged me down as I entered the security line. She's kind and helpful. She treated me with respect and was very patient with my questions. I was struck at how friendly and knowledgeable she was, and most importantly, Linda took the time to help me when she could have easily let me walk on. Linda is definitely one of the most pleasant TSA officers I've ever encountered.
Oh, good job. Good job.
And next with SP Plus, we have Brad Forrest. So this was a passenger compliment sent in for Brad. A great shuttle driver just dropped my family off in the parking lot. The driver was a nice gentleman named Brad. He drove safely and was patient with all the passengers and their many stops. Keep up the good work, young man. Thank you for getting my family closer to home.
Oh, good job, Brad.
That's great. She should narrate children's books. Okay, next I'm going to introduce Doug Schaefer with the Port of Portland PDX volunteer musician. This compliment came from a fellow PDX employee. I stopped to watch Doug perform the song Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. I noticed a passenger also stopped to listen to the song. Doug noticed that the traveler started to cry. As he finished his song, he asked her if she was okay, and she said, "No, my father just passed away recently, and that song was his favorite song." Doug respectfully gave his condolences and asked if she needed a hug, to which she replied yes. What a wonderful ambassador for the Port of Portland, showing kindness and his gift of music for all to hear. Thank you, Doug. Next up is Kathleen Holland from ABM.
That's all right.
That's fine.
No race. There you go.
A passenger approached Kathleen while she was providing directions and assistance just outside the DE-TSA checkpoint. The passenger had just arrived but had missed her connection due to a delay with her arriving flight. The passenger was despondent and quite anxious. Kathleen guided the passenger to her airline's ticket counter to rebook her flight, but the next available flight wasn't available until the following day. Kathleen helped the passenger book a hotel and procure a taxi, and to top it off, Kathleen even checked back later that evening to confirm that the passenger got to the hotel safely. Kathleen demonstrated knowledgeable, friendly, and respectful customer service that truly went above and beyond, and I am proud to nominate her for a PDX
People Customer Service Award. Nice job, Kathleen.
All right. All right, and last but not least, the Team Award. And I know that we've got a handful of folks that are here. So Danielle, Maria, I know that you're here. And then I think Brianna could not make it. Hannah Bennett, come on up. We'll get you your awards, and I'm gonna read the last. So come on up.
Yeah, come on up there. Come on down.
Yeah. And, interestingly, the way that we go through this process, we take all of the, nominations that we receive over the course of the entire quarter, and we put them to a vote. And the working committee members vote on them. And, I feel a little selfish reading the Team Award, but I think it's just because I'm the one that made the nominations. So it's going to feel a little first person or second person here. So please bear with me. But I'm going to read my nomination here. So the morning of September 22nd was a day I'll remember for the rest of my life. We had an early morning event for PDX people planned on the airfield. A local food truck was scheduled to serve breakfast. Yeah, oh yeah, you remember. Oh yeah. Everybody else remembers too. Yes, we had a local food truck scheduled to serve breakfast. Unfortunately, upon arrival, the truck experienced some unanticipated mechanical issues. Kevin Day with Oregon Electric was the first on the scene to troubleshoot the electrical needs. Andy Souders with PDX Maintenance located a welder that had the proper electrical connection. Despite all their hard work, the root of the issue was related to their propane line and not easily fixable within our allotted time frame, which was yesterday, by the way, by the time we came to you all. At this point, we had some very hungry employees waiting, and that's when staff from Burgerville, Capers, and Tillamook came to the rescue. Brianna, Black, and Bauer with Burgerville were the first to receive my frantic request for breakfast sandwiches. And despite already being short-staffed, they got those working. Anita and Hannah from Capers knocked out an additional 30 sandwiches. And then lastly, Maria and Danielle with Tillamook provided an additional 50 more. Without any notice, by the way. This is sort of like on the fly. And at the end of the day, while we weren't able to deliver a food truck experience, employees were fed, memories were made, and I just really wanted to say thank you to each of you. I know the early mornings can be a little rough in the first place, but I just wanted you to know it really does mean a lot that you were able to knock out breakfast sandwiches and pivot and really come to the rescue of us and to the airport staff who were all ravenous. I can assure you of that. So I just wanted to say on behalf of the entire airport, it takes a village sometimes, and thank you to each of you for really stepping up and making that happen. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Yes. And you all can sit down if you want. And excitingly enough, too, for all of you who got an award, I also have a great little goodie bag here that has a double wall stainless tumbler that says that you're a quarterly award winner. And I think I've gotten gift cards out to all of you, with the exception of Doug. So don't run off. But I just really wanted to say thank you for all of you for giving us your lunch hour. Thank you so much for coming and supporting our customer service superstars, and really for making customer service a priority. I know you have a lot to do. You all have very busy lives, but you turned out, you showed up, you represented, and it really does mean a lot to me and to us as an airport community. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.